G'day guys, welcome to this episode of Aussie English. I've got a bit of a special episode for you guys today where we're going to listen to an interview that I did this morning. Recently, Lorena from Go Study contacted me, and Go Study is a wonderful company in Australia that represents people typically coming from European countries like France, Spain, Italy, etc. and wanting to come to Australia. They're wanting to come here as students, and Go Study is a free service where these guys act as student counselors. So whether you want help working out where to live, how to get a job, which school to pick, these guys have connections with over 500 schools in Australia. Lorena was telling me today, if you need advice on how to make a resume, how to find and meet other people learning English or other Australians, how to file a tax return, all of this kind of information. If you've signed up to become a student already and you're planning on studying in Australia, Go Study Australia is a free service. It's 100% free for you guys to get assistance if you need help with anything. You have any kind of worries. And Lorena herself was from Spain. She had a French colleague in there, 2 other Italian colleagues, and I believe another Spanish-speaking colleague as well, working in Melbourne. These guys are found all over Australia, in Sydney, in Brisbane, in Perth, and Melbourne, and they're also found in Europe. So whether you're in Australia currently studying somewhere and you need assistance or some kind of help, or just a student advisor, you want advice with regards to any of these things in English or in your native language, Italian, Spanish, or French, Go Study Australia is for you. And if you're over in Europe at the moment, hoping to come to Australia, contacting these guys is definitely the way to go because, again, it's 100% free. So anyway, Lorena sent me an email, and in the spirit of full disclosure to you guys, she told me everything about Go Study Australia and what they're passionate about, which is helping people from Europe come to Australia to get settled and to help them live their dream in Australia while they're studying here, or potentially to move and eventually live here permanently. But she told me that the schools are the ones that fund Go Study Australia, right? So you guys sign up to study, you have to pay your fees to the school, and the school hires services like Go Study Australia to obviously take care of its students, to help with all of the other things outside of the schools, as well as the schools themselves. And so they have a program set up where they get ambassadors on board to be a part of this program, which is something that Lorena has asked me to become a part of. And for every student that signs up that says, hey, I heard about you through Aussie English and I'm coming because of Aussie English, I'll get $100. So I'm just telling you that in the spirit of full disclosure. If you guys want to come to Australia, or if you're already in Australia and you want a really good service that is 100% free for you guys, I really recommend Go Study Australia. I went down there today to hang out with her and her team, and I also interviewed her so that she could give you guys the information firsthand so you can hear it from the horse's mouth, straight from the horse's mouth. And yeah, if you want to give a little bit of support to Aussie English and you're looking for some kind of assistance while studying down under, signing up to be a part of Go Study Australia and letting them know that you came from being suggested by Aussie English will send $100 my way to help me keep doing what I'm doing. And to put a little bit of icing on the cake, guys, I'm going to offer anyone who ends up signing up with Go Study Australia a half an hour free lesson with me via Skype. So all you have to do is obviously sign up through Go Study Australia, send me an email at the Aussie English Podcast @gmail.com. And then we'll set up a time to do a free lesson where we can talk about anything related to your English, your pronunciation, about coming to Australia. Maybe you just want to chat to me in general, but you'll get a free half an hour lesson with me as well. Anyway, Let's get into today's episode, guys. There's so much great information in here. Lorena tells us all about what to expect when moving to Australia. She gives us tips on how to learn English faster and what the best thing for students is to do with regards to finding a job, finding somewhere to live, all of this really good stuff. And yeah, let's get into it. All right, guys, welcome to this episode of Aussie English. I am down at Go Study Australia with Lorena.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me down.
Yeah, no worries. Nice
so she sent me an email recently, told me about what they did, and I thought it would be the best opportunity to come down, interview her, find out a bit about her, what her experiences have been in Australia, and give you guys, obviously, the down low.
A little bit of information.
Yeah,
so here at Go Study Australia, we're a student agency. So what we do is help students who have just arrived to Australia to sort of settle in. We sort of do a couple of stages, right? So we help students who have just arrived in Australia and just landed, open their TFNs and activate their health insurances and do a little bit of the first steps in Australia, right?
Yeah.
And then we help throughout the entire process while they're here. That's basically what we do, and we open our doors to any students, that need a little bit of help and a little bit of guidance throughout their Aussie experience.
So what are the biggest issues they sort of come in contact with when they come here? What do they tend to sort of need specific help with straight off the bat?
I guess the main thing would be looking for jobs. And having sort of their first experience in Australia, what they first want to do is, come here and try to find a job super, super quick. So that's sort of the main thing that we help. And we actually do job sessions with students, and we help them review their CV and do everything that they need in order to get that going. The other thing is English, obviously, and that's sort of where you come in, try to teach students and give them a little bit of insight. One of the things that students actually tell us all the time is, Australian accent. It's so different from what we learn in Spain or what we learn in Italy. The accent or certain terminology, you guys tend to abbreviate everything, right? So that's sort of,
We can't make it too easy for you.
Yeah. But yeah, most of the students are studying English here anyway.
Yep.
So they sort of get that extra push from the school. But it's good to have, a little bit of extra tips of, what things mean here in Australia.
So do they ever hit you up with specific questions with regards to like the accent or specific words that you just hear again and again and again?
Well, one thing that a lot of students are baffled by is ta. People just land here, and you've always been sort of told that thank you is what people say, or thanks is the maximum, but people then start hearing, no, ta. And people come here and they're like, what, Lorena, what is ta?
Yeah.
Why are people telling me ta all the time? That's sort of the main one.
That's so funny, because that was one of those ones where I didn't even think about it until I had someone asking me. And now I notice it everywhere. Every time I go, I'm working at the restaurant as a waiter, I take anything to any table, and instantly I know someone's Australian if they're like, ta.
Yeah, I didn't notice. I grew up learning, English, and I've always sort of had, I have no problem, with understanding English, and I didn't notice it until my partner said, I learned today in school that ta means thank you, and then I started hearing it everywhere. It's like, what do you mean? And now everybody's like, ta, no, I don't know.
And we also use it with kids. We'll say, ta, as in like, give me it. Ta, like hand it over.
Yes, it's you learn it from very
I think so. Yeah. I think it probably comes from that, where it's a lot easier to say than thank you as a small child. So we just learn ta.
Yeah. Well, you guys like to abbreviate everything. I think that's what I've learned about my experience here in Australia.
So how long did that take to get your head around? All of the abbreviations, the slang. I don't know.
Well, funny thing, because actually, when you come to Australia, you start sort of researching, and I was working in Go Study in the Madrid office for 3 years, so I sort of had my head around, Australian culture and everything, and every once in a while you get videos on YouTube and stuff like that of how Australian people say these things, right?
All those accent comparison ones.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's nice, like you start about what they are. But when you come here, you truly sort of start.
So was it a shock for you? And do you find that other students have that? Like, I've heard that from people who had no exposure to the Australian accent before getting here. But for someone who did have somewhat of a previous exposure, was it still a shock when you got here?
Well, not so much as a shock, right? I think it's more of a, oh, that's true. They actually do it. Right?
They are actually as weird as they appear.
So a lot of times you think, oh, when you think about stereotypes of any nationality, oh, Spanish people do this or Italian people do this. Then sometimes it's an exaggeration. So you assume that Australians, the portrayal of Australians is an exaggeration, but then it's not. People are like actually talk like that.
So what were some examples? Did you have any where you got here and you're like, oh my gosh, Crocodile Dundee's in every other store?
I think the word arvo is something that I thought people just said it online that, oh yeah, but Australians say arvo all the time.
As
and
a
then
joke.
And then you come here and you're like, oh, I'll see you this arvo. What do you mean? What's arvo?
Are you saying that ironically?
Yeah. Are you making fun of me? But I think that a lot of students come here with the expectation that it's going to be a little bit tough at the beginning, but then when they come here, they're like, oh, actually, Aussie English.
And that's what I found. Like, it doesn't take too long for them to get used to it. They have that sort of fear of, oh, I've only ever watched British TV or American TV, and what am I going to do? And then they get here, and you're like, it's kind of hard, but you'll get it within a month or two. And
I mean, after a while, you sort of pick up on it, and once you've heard arvo one time, maybe you get weirded out the first time, right? You're like, oh, arvo, but then you know what it means, so people just keep on using it.
So how long have you been learning English then? Because you've obviously reached a very, very high level.
So actually I cheated, right? So I've learned English when I was very little. I grew up in Italy, in Rome, and then I went to an American school there, and then I did my bachelor degree in the U.S. in a small town called Carlisle, Pennsylvania, very, very tiny. And then I've been here in Australia for 2 years. I wish I could pick up the Australian accent, which I love. I think it's so much fun.
Why is that the case? Why would you like to speak
I don't
like
know.
us?
I don't know. It sounds, like funky. And cool. I think of all of the English accents, Australian accent is my favorite one.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
it seems to either be the favorite or the most hated.
I know. But the American, apologies for my American. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but I do not like my American accent. I mean, I guess it's.
So did you pick that up at school, or did you pick that up once you got to America?
I think it's just I've learned English since very little, and it's always been very international because it wasn't I didn't learn English in America, right? I learned English in a small school, in a small international school, surrounded by Italian people, Spanish people, French. So it was very international. So we also had sort of a neutral sort of accent, so to speak. But then all of the shows that you see are American. Then obviously I did my bachelor's degree for 4 years in the U.S. So I guess it just sort of sticks to you.
I always found that aspect of it weird. Like, I watch so much American TV and films that it's almost stranger when you see an Australian on one of these things.
Yeah.
They stick out like a sore thumb. You're just like, whoa. I remember watching Lost and that blonde girl appearing on it, and you just being like, oh, what's that accent? And then you realise she's an Australian.
That's my accent.
Yeah. And it's funny how it goes both ways, where we understand everything. I can even tell you, you'll hear accents and you'll be like, oh, they're from the South. Or they're from, New York, or they're from California, and yet Americans will hear our accent and be like, we didn't understand any of that, because they just get no exposure.
Yeah, true. It's weird with accents, So I guess you see that a lot. People pick up different accents. My partner has been studying English here in Australia, and when he came, he didn't have a lot of English. And now he's picked up words, and say things in Australian, which is weird to me sometimes. A Spanish accent with Australian.
I love that mix, though. That's really good. But bringing it back to Go Study, so what would you recommend for people who are wanting to obviously come to Australia? How can they make that transition as effortless as possible?
Yeah, well, we always recommend students to feel free to always ask for help. Our doors are always open. We have offices here in Melbourne. We have offices in Sydney, in Brisbane, and in Perth, as well obviously in Spain, Italy, and France. And what I would recommend is, just ask for help whenever you need it.
Yep.
Sometimes it's hard when you come into a new culture or a new country and you're by yourself, and sometimes having a little niche of your own home is nice to have. So we always recommend, if you're in need, just come and get some help. We do offer all kinds of help. Jobs, with CVs, with their experience here. We also do a lot of events, so we gather people, and it's also good for them to sort of mingle with other cultures, and especially with other English-speaking people, to practice sort of, that's the most difficult part, right, of the experience in Australia. A lot of students come and they're sort of going to school surrounded by international people. Inevitably, as soon as you hear your own language, it's easy to sort of stick to that. What we push students to do is get out of the comfort zone, meet people who don't speak your same language. That's the only way that you're really going to get, and I'm sure you've seen it. A lot of people maybe might know how to read it, how to write it. They might listen it super well, but then in the moment that comes to speaking is the part where they struggle the most.
I think it's like a muscle. Anytime you practice reading and writing, you can do those passive things incredibly easily, but as soon as you want to do something active, a lot of the time, I think especially Asian speakers have trouble with this, and I don't know if they have a culture where it's not encouraged to make mistakes and to sort of go out of your way to speak as much as possible, whereas I think on the other end of that, I think Brazilians are probably some of the most sort of active. I don't give a shit. I'll speak. I don't care about making mistakes. Yeah, and so it's almost like you just have to practice, just getting out there and speaking as much as possible in order to work that muscle and strengthen it. But
yeah, it's the most important part, right? So we create a lot of environment for the students in which they're sort of obligated, right, to step outside of their comfort zone and meet new people, and being in a room, even if you're in a room with other people who speak your same language, if there's people in the room who don't, then inevitably, even with the people that you do speak the same language, you will try your best to speak in English, just as a,
I've been so impressed with that. I've had, my housemate is Turkish, and she always brings over Turkish people, Turkish friends that she has, and they'll all be speaking in Turkish. And the moment I enter the room, it just switches to English, and I'll just be like, do you guys actively, are you focusing on that? And they're like, well, somewhat. And I'm like, isn't it harder though? Like, if you always, I feel almost bad now, because every time I walk in and 5 of them have to switch the language they're using, I'm like, just hang out with you. It's fine, I'm leaving, I'm going.
Yeah, well, I think it's a matter of, sort of respect. We've all been in the other end, in which you're in a room and everybody is speaking Dutch, and you're like, well, what are they saying?
I'm going to stand outside in the rain.
And you sort of feel more, and especially with Europeans. We do a lot of European students, and that notion, you understand it immediately. It's like, there's one person in the room that doesn't speak Spanish, everybody else does, but just to make that person feel welcome in the group, we're gonna all speak English, and it's easier. It's easier when you're sort of in contact with people that don't speak your own language.
So what are the biggest mistakes that people can make when they get here with regards to friendship groups, getting a job, writing a CV? Do you have any quick and dirty tips?
Stay away from your own nationality. That's the biggest mistake.
And if you're Colombian, that doesn't mean you can just go and hang out with Chileans.
Exactly. Stay away from people who speak the same language as you do. I think that I think it's human nature, really.
What's the path of least resistance?
Yeah, exactly. Right? What is the most comfortable thing? As soon as you can be comfortable, you'll sort of go into that mode. We always push students to meet people from other nationalities. Go out there. Try to, when you hear, for example, for Spanish speakers, when you hear Spanish, leave the room, go another place. If you're French, if you hear French, just go to another place. Doesn't mean that because everyone now and then it's nice to sort of have that the idea of saying, okay, well, look, I've been speaking English since 9 o'clock in the morning.
Especially, I guess, if you're at that still beginner/intermediate level,
it can
where
be tiring.
It is such hard work. Where you've got to be working it constantly, and you're just like, I just want to be able to almost just breathe properly.
Yeah.
Have a proper
Sometimes it's
conversation.
good. And actually, this is also sort of the philosophy that we have here in Go Study Australia. It's a little bubble of home. So we have people here who speak French, who speak Italian, who speak Spanish. So also speaking of things related to jobs, to TFNs, tax returns. Sometimes speaking it in English, which is not your first language, might be a little bit hard. So it's good that you have that bubble sometimes that you can come in. But the most important thing to remember is that you came to Australia to learn English and to sort of immerse yourself in the culture. And if you automatically only make friends in your own nationality group or sort of speaking group, it defeats the purpose. Then you could have
pretty crazy, isn't it? I've met people who've moved here and instantly found other French people to move in with. And that was, it's good in one sense that you have a home straight away, you potentially have a job if you know them, but they've been here for 6 months and still don't speak a lick of English. They can barely, put a sentence together. And then I've met other people who start from the very beginning with nothing, and within 5 or 6 months they're fluent.
I think that, the people, we see it here all the time. Students that, or the students that are the ones that really are successful at their experience in Australia are the ones that have tried their best to go around their comfort zone. Again, everybody likes to be comfortable and being in a situation where you don't have to struggle, but it is
growth
that
doesn't come until you start looking for the
it's that struggle that will push you to be better, will push you to sort of adapt to the situation. And especially, and I noticed this with my partner as well, in the moment that he's outside of sort of a comfort zone is when his brain really starts to think in English and, okay, I have to think about this word. If he's in a situation where he's automatically speaking English, and even if it's very easy, it's not challenging, so it won't push him to get
it's like going to the gym, you don't go there and lift everything once.
Exactly.
That's really cool. So what else would you say with regards to finding a job? Can you do that too early? Do you need a certain level? Are there certain kinds of jobs that lend themselves better to specific levels in English, or just give everything a go and see what happens?
Well, one thing that we tell students always is never say no.
I'm trying to tell myself that a lot of the time at the moment as well.
It's sort of the best advice that you can give anyone. Don't say no, just say yes to everything. Be open to any possibilities. Obviously, there's certain things that your English will sort of have an impact in the relationship, or the things that you're going to be able to do. If you have 0 level of English, the idea is, okay, well, find a place where you're not obviously in front of the public. So a lot of students that come and don't have a lot of English, they'll look for jobs in hospitality, but like being a runner or a dishwasher, you're still going to have the surrounding in which you're in the kitchen. People are going to speak English, and you're still going to have that immersion of English. But obviously, if you don't know how to speak, you can't speak to the public. And then eventually you'll start sort of moving forward.
And the way to look at that, I feel too, is that a lot of the time, once you get to that point, if you're getting paid, even if it's only 15, 17, 20 bucks an hour to be a waiter, you're getting paid to learn English, whilst also just take food to tables, and you just get repeated conversations. They tend to be pretty easy and basic as well, because you don't really get into anything too existential, but
no, but it's good
practice.
Because it's very good practice. And a lot of the students come here and they'll be in school either in the morning or in the afternoon, and the English that you learn in school is not the same English that you'll get in the street or at work. So having that complement, we see it all the time with students who just do English course, but then they never work or they never have social life outside. They'll sort of reach. So at the beginning, they'll start learning a lot of English, and then they reach a plateau, right? And then they see, they're like, I'm so frustrated. Why am I not learning more? Why am I stuck here, right? At the beginning, you see it because 2-3 months that you're here, you just go, the level goes super fast.
Those initial gains.
And then you see it and you're super glad that you're doing it, and then you reach a plateau and you're like, oh, damn it, I want to do more. And that more comes from being outside, from finding a job, finding people that don't speak your language, and get that sort of motivation outside of the comfort zone. And
so what's the best combination then of all of that friendship work and school, a bit of everything, as opposed to focusing on any single one?
I think that it's an important balance of all three. We are very keen and we see the importance, obviously, of students actually having an education. So going and doing an English course or doing a vocational course, and once they have a little bit more of a level of English, to keep that sort of brain going, right? Because you need that stimulation to go. You obviously then need to sort of put it together with work and with social life. So the most important, I don't think there's one more important than the other. You're going to learn different aspects of different things in all three, right? So the conversation that you have at work will not be the same conversation that you have in school, and will not be the same conversation that you have with your friends while you're having a beer, right? So that sort of combination of all 33% each. Yeah,
but it's almost synergistic, right? Where they may all be 33%, but it ends up being 110%, as opposed to if you spend 100% working on just one of them.
Yeah, exactly. It's more rotund, right? If you just get that experience of the entire three little pieces.
And so how can students find the best school? Obviously, this is where you guys come in as well.
Yeah, so...
You just recommend just coming to you guys, and then you're the problem solvers, making this as easy as possible.
Basically, we do see ourselves as problem solvers. Our role is to guide the student through the entire process. So we're experts at education in Australia. So that's where sort of our expertise comes in. We will help the student sort of be guided, and we'll sit with the student, talk about what his goals are, what he wants to get out of the experience in Australia. And we work with more than 500 schools all around Australia. So, I mean, in the end, in those 500 options, there has to be something for everyone, right?
Yeah, definitely.
We will guide them, we'll sit down, we'll talk about, what you want to do, and then we'll try to obviously find something that will meet all of the requirements. So we do a lot of English courses. And we do a lot of vocational as well. A lot of students prefer to go into the vocational once they've been they come here, they do 6 months or 8 months of English, and then they want to extend their stay and say, look, I want to stay. Student visa is the sort of easiest way to be able to expand the knowledge or to stay in Australia. And vocational courses is a good way of keep doing English, but a little bit more focused in your sort of area of expertise. So there's a lot of different options, and we always invite students to just come in, and we'll just sit down, have a conversation in English if you want, or in your own language with one of our experienced counselors, and sort of guide through the entire process to get their studies going. Yeah.
And so, before we finish up, if you recommend any city in Australia to come to, if you're coming straight from overseas, which is it going to be? And you're allowed to say that, not Melbourne.
Actually, I would say Melbourne. I would say Melbourne because for me, Melbourne has it all. Yep. Except for the weather.
Well, we have that as well. It just tends to be in a single day.
I think Melbourne has the entire experience of what a student might want. It has the Australian experience, it has social life, it has a lot of work opportunities. I think it offers a lot of things to students. It has been voted most livable city for 7 years in a row, so has to account for something. No?
I still keep like...
You're still like, why? Like why?
Yeah. Surely there must be better places somewhere else.
But I think that Melbourne, of all the cities in Australia, sort of gives you... Obviously, all cities will give you a little bit of... it depends on what you're looking for, right? Yeah. But Melbourne, if you want the whole experience, the whole package, I think Melbourne is the best place to be.
And what's been the best thing that you've seen, whether in Melbourne or just Victoria or Australia as a whole, since you got here?
Well, I haven't travelled too much around Australia because I'm always in the office. But actually, I think the best thing that I've seen so far, well, there's two things. There's something you'll be like, that's really not that great, which is the penguins in St Kilda.
That's pretty cute. Did you see the water rats there as well?
Yes, I did. They're pretty cute too.
I have a PhD in water rats, or not water rats, but Australian rats. So that's why I'm like,
I think that's my colleague Marta brought me there the first week that I was here, and I was just amazed. Little penguins.
They're pretty cute. And the sounds they're making out there.
And then the other thing that I really loved was Wilson's Prom.
Yep.
That for me was the best thing that I've seen in Australia so far.
Did you go to Squeaky Beach and
yes.
Yeah.
and go like this all the time, and I think those are my two favorite things. Obviously, I still have to see a lot of Australia. Australia is
I have to see a lot of Australia. There's plenty of things I haven't seen.
It's very big.
It's huge. I don't think I haven't seen Uluru. I haven't been to Perth. I haven't been to Darwin.
Yeah, sort of. When you have it close to you, sometimes you're like, I'll go at some point.
Exactly, and then it just never happens. So I guess wrapping up, what's the best way that students can get in touch with you, or listeners, viewers can get in touch with you? And
we can just walk in. Obviously, you can write an email to melbourne@gostudy.com.au. Go to our website. It depends on the city that you sort of want to explore. If you're in Melbourne, obviously, we'll be able to help you, but we have offices elsewhere. Our website, our Facebook page.
Same for students overseas as well?
For students overseas, it's better they contact their local office, whether they're in Spain or Italy or France. But I mean, if I get an email or if I get a contact from any student who's elsewhere, who's not here, I'll direct them to the right direction. So, anyone who needs a little bit of help or needs sort of a little bit of extra push inside of Australia, feel free to contact Go Study Australia.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Lorena.
Thank you, Pete.
See you guys.
Bye.
So I hope you enjoyed that episode of Aussie English, guys. I hope you enjoyed that interview. Remember, if you want to sign up to use the free service that is Go Study Australia to make your life a lot easier once you get here, whether you want to find a job, whether you need help filling out your tax return, finding somewhere to live, paying your rent, meeting other people, socializing, any of that stuff once you get here in Australia, you can do so. Go to www.gostudy.com.au. And remember, if you sign up and you say that you've come from Aussie English, not only are you sending $100 my way to help me support myself and continue to make content for you guys, but if you email me at AussieEnglishPodcast@gmail.com and let me know that you've told them that Aussie English referred you, we can organise a free half-an-hour lesson on Skype where we can work together to take your English to the next level. So that's it for today, guys. I'll chat to you soon. All the best.
Wow.